Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Conrad Gorlinski. And the Ministry of Health has reported a significant increase in the number of new coronavirus infections in Poland. On Sunday, the ministry announced nearly 30,000 new confirmed cases of coronavirus in the country.
According to the latest data from the Polish Ministry of Health, there are 29,253 new COVID-19 infections and 131 new COVID-related deaths in the country. The total number of confirmed cases of coronavirus infection reported in the country since the beginning of the pandemic is now at 2,250,991, and the death toll has exceeded 51,000. Nearly 24,000 people recovered from the infection in the last 24 hours. 5,845,811 people have already received the coronavirus vaccine in Poland.
Exactly 76 years ago, on March 27th and 28th of 1945, the People's Commissariat for Internal Affairs, the NKVD, arrested 15 leaders of the Polish underground state. Even though Soviet representatives promised them complete safety, Polish underground state leaders were transferred to Moscow and imprisoned in Lubyanka. Our next story today is from Canada. One woman was killed and 5 others were wounded in a stabbing at a public library located near a busy shopping area of a Vancouver suburb on Saturday. According to local police, the suspect is already in custody.
The attack occurred in the early afternoon, and investigators appealed for witnesses, especially those who had shot videos that were later posted on social media. Videos from the scene appeared to show a man injuring himself with a knife before being taken into police custody.
We have a number that is 6 victims that sustained injuries, okay, and the 1 victim who unfortunately died.
No further details of the victims were provided.
We haven't spoken to him yet. We're going to make attempts to do so. So our suspect, I can tell you that he's had police interactions in the past. He does have a criminal record. And obviously, one of the priorities is to look into his past. And I said it before, but the question of why, motive, why exactly would drive somebody to do what they did this afternoon? That is going to be the number 1 question for us.
While there was no report on his condition, Zhang said that the suspect has a criminal record.
The United Kingdom has administered the first dose of the coronavirus vaccine to more than 29 million people. The second dose, however, has been a matter of great contention. British Culture Minister Oliver Dowden has announced that the UK has now planned for people to get their second coronavirus vaccine doses. Speaking to journalist Sophie Ridge, Dowden said after sticking to pledges about the first dose, the government has now factored the second dose into all of its planning.
We don't get into the details of supply chains, but the Health Secretary has indicated that he would expect later this month we'd start to see Moderna. Well, clearly our first priority is ensuring that we deliver vaccines in the United Kingdom. We clearly don't currently have a surplus of vaccines. Should we get to the point where we have a surplus of vaccines, we'd make decisions on the allocation of that surplus. Constructive discussions with the EU. Our position is very clear, that the EU should not be engaging in blocking exports and that they should honour the pledge that Ursula von der Leyen gave to Prime Minister Boris Johnson a short while ago, whereby they agreed that any contracts should be honoured. So that is to say that if vaccines have been provided in honouring of a contract, that should be honoured by the EU, and we expect them to abide by that.
Without getting into details of supply chains, Dowden also said Health Secretary Matt Hancock has indicated the UK will start to see doses of the Moderna vaccine given in the coming weeks.
Not only do we stick to our pledges in relation to the first vaccine, we must ensure that people get their second vaccine. So in all of our planning, we have factored in getting that second dose of the vaccine. When government formulates policy, the way we do this is we look at all the different options, we weigh them up, we come to a position, and then when we've come to that position, we publish that position, and that's the position that we'll be setting out at the beginning of next month. Clearly, there are challenges around international travel. You only have to look across the continent and see the rising case rates in many of our nearest neighbours. It has been in the past the case that those rising infection rates have seen their way through to the UK. And we're looking at all sorts of factors. So, for example, ventilation, we're looking at behaviour, we're looking at the spread risk, so we're testing before and after. But it's also important that as part of that, we consider the role that COVID certification might play. Now,
addressing the possibility of lifting COVID-19 restrictions, such as opening theaters and reinstating international travel, the Culture Minister said there are still many challenges ahead for the UK. That's all for this evening, and have a great week ahead.